During the height of the pandemic, more than 3 million people in the U.S. retired, some before they turned 65.
In the last few months, though, quite a few of them have had to go back to work to make ends meet because of inflation.
Yeah, tonight we hear from two local retirees, one who was forced to go back to work, another thinking very hard about doing that. Clara Duckworth retired in December from the State Workforce Services Office in Fort Smith. She's been working since she was 16 and says she was really looking forward to full-on retirement. Now she says she's more than likely going to find part-time work on fears these high prices will continue to climb.
We that recently retired on set income, we're going to suffer from that unless we can get out there and start adding more resources to our retirement funds.
Gary Maxwell retired from the military and was laid off from the Fort Smith post office after 19 years. He now works 4 days a week, 12-hour days at Mars Pet Care in Fort Smith because he says his Social Security and military disability weren't enough.
Well, I was stuck with about $1,435 a month to live on, and that don't work.
He says he was able to live on that income until inflation set in.
We could pay our rent and our bills and what food we needed, and that was it. You know, we couldn't go anywhere, do anything.
Clara and Gary are not alone. According to a Wall Street Journal report, more than 500,000 retirees across the country had to go back to work because inflation is simply too much. U of A economist Mervyn Jebaraj says retirees going back to work is a trend that actually started in early 2019 and got a lot worse during the pandemic.
For two reasons. One, because wages are higher, and two, because several people retired early in the last 2 years, retired earlier than they had planned to because of COVID, but they're coming back.
Claire says she's hoping it won't be difficult to find a job.
They're looking for people that can kind of hit the ground running. And I think in that sense, people that recently retired, we're going to have a leg up on that because we have skills, today's skills to bring to the table.
Jebaraj says the rise in inflation will hopefully level off before the end of this year.
We think, hopefully, fingers crossed, that inflation has peaked, but there's going to be it's going to remain elevated for a fairly long time, probably through the rest of this year. At that point, your increases in Social Security will remain as part of your income. So people should be able to retire again.
But not Gary.
I figure I'll be working from now on. You know, I don't see any other way out of it.
Gary says he is doing just fine. He just turned 70 and says he plans to get married in a few weeks. Now, Claire says she's hoping to find part-time work in the medical field. What's really interesting about this is interviewing those two and some other folks as well.
Yeah.
Most of them that I talked to, either through social media or email, had no plans to retire or go back to work just yet. They are this close.
Right.
If inflation were to go up any more, they would have no choice. But those two that we talked to definitely have to go back because just inflation was too high for them.
Hopefully the prices level off for everyone, right?
And like Mervyn said, hopefully before the end of this year, it kind of starts heading back down.
We'll look forward to that.